Hello, Kansas and Western fans. It's time for episode 31 of the construction of the Kansas and Western HO scale railroad. We will start, like usual, with the tasks that won the poll the last couple of weeks. We'll show what I've gotten done, and then we'll do a full layout tour for the new visitors and for reminders for everybody else for the poll for this weekend. So I was tasked again with working on the Gorge Route, so we'll go over what I've done there. First of all, this area, if you've seen my operations video from a few days ago, you saw this basically in its current state, except I have also finished the ballast from the tunnel portal around to this turnout for the siding. So that's turned out pretty well. I'm really happy with the color of the ballast. If you compare it to the real scene that I'm using as a model, it looks very close, so I'm happy with that. This little culvert I've added, this is my first attempt at a scene detail. Happy with the culvert, not happy with the rock around it. I think I might actually paint that because it's too multicolored. I did a bad blend of mix of colors there, so I'm going to change that because it would probably reflect more of what the surrounding rock would be, but I'm still learning on scenery. I have a long way to go. Like this whole area here is still pretty much just flat and plain. And I think what I've decided to do, the way this scene looks for the Royal Gorge area, I'm going to kind of call my 70% done something. I'm not sure. If I can get this whole area of the Royal Gorge done to this level, I'll call that pretty good for now, because I still have a long way to go to figure out how to add more scenery details, what I want to add, lots more videos to watch, suggestions to take from you all, because you've done so well for me over the past year and giving me good recommendations. So if I can get all this Royal Gorge Route to look like this, then I'll call that pretty good for now. Anyway, moving along, I did get one more section painted up. You can see the paint colors are quite a bit different. Still experimenting with color types and blending them together, so I'll probably go back over that, but not a big deal. And then still have a lot of carving to do here. We'll move down. I did get the bridge installed. Obviously, if you saw the operations video, trains do run over it. What I've run into, though, is, and I don't know how well you can see, yeah, you can see, there's a small gap between the bridge feet and the bridge supports, so I'm going to have to come back in there and shim that somehow. I've got some temporary shims down below, so it's going to be a combination of shims on the bottom and then maybe a very small, we're going to call those steel plates, added underneath the feet. So I might cut some more styrene and add those into the feet to make that work. But this is the result of trying to make the track fit, because I did glue the rails directly to the bed, I guess, for the bridge, and that's the way it had to work to make it, obviously nice and level from the tracks on the ground across the bridge. So this is the result. So I just have to shim that up, not a big deal. Train still rolls over it fine, and that's the most important part, right? So anyway, moving along, I did get a big chunk of this corner carved out. And I'm trying to not make it all look the same, like a perfectly 90-degree angle from the bottom to the top, or perfectly vertical. And this probably isn't going to show through here until I get some paint colors added, or until I can do another track level cab ride view or something. But I am trying to put some more variation in the pitch of the wall itself, so it doesn't all just look the same. But obviously tons more carving to do. I did add this little culvert, kind of cut that out, so a little more detailed work there. I'll probably add another one of those somewhere, but otherwise I'd say it's going pretty well. I had to focus on this corner in order to get trains to run, because the foam had been laid too close to the track that it overhung, and I couldn't get trains to pass, so that's why I went down here. Plus, I had to allow paint and whatnot to dry at that end. I didn't want to work close to a carbon foam, so I just worked at the other end. Anyway, so that's pretty much the extent of what I've gotten done here for the last couple weeks. Doesn't really seem like a lot now that I review it, but I did put quite a bit of work into it, quite a bit of hours. And I would say, for the most part, I'm pretty happy with this corner here. Like if you took a picture of this to represent how my layout's looking right now, I'd be pretty happy with that. So anyway, moving along, we'll do the full tour. So you all know what you would like to vote for the poll for this weekend. Moving around for the Royal Gorge Route, we've got Canon City with its station for Royal Gorge Route Railroad and a downtown area that I plan to try to build here. And then we move down to the Portland cement plant, which just needs 1 or 2 more small structures, and then just lots of detailed work on the existing structures. Color, obviously. And now that I'm building confidence with carving foam and starting to build some forms, I'm a little more confident about how I'm going to hide these 2 portals through the backdrop, building some small hill cuts and so forth there. So not as apprehensive about that as I was, so I can work on that when it's time. And then if you saw my last poll result video, you saw I got organized. Still have to put some more labels on these drawers so I can find things a little better, but this looks a heck of a lot better than it was. Move around to the other side here. And we've got Pueblo with its scrap metal facility and smelter, which will be at the other end. And just a reminder, this is the scene that I'm trying to go for here, the top-down view. Lots of different scrap piles with separate tracks to feed those. So still have to figure out exactly how I want these tracks to run. And then we come to La Junta Yard. All the tracks laid. And this reminds me, so the last polling period, I decided to get organized while you guys were voting for the next thing. So I think I'm going to start making these periods kind of like me time. And what I've chosen to do is work on things that are probably never going to get voted on because, well, they're kind of boring, but they'll still need to be done. So I think for this period, for this weekend, while you guys are voting, I'm going to work on filling these gaps, all these little tie gaps where I had to remove ties to make the track connections work. So I'm going to start filling those. I'm going to see if I can get the whole main line done on both levels, and I'll start to focus on different scenes. So that'll make at least the track start to look a little better. Moving on. Still just have to finish this dock here, add another section for the highway, and La Junta will be ready for backdrop, paint, and ballast. Now we move down here to Lamar. Still quite a bit of structure work needs to be done here, but the track's all in position, ready for paint and ballast. Then we wrap around the corner to Holly. This is probably, besides the Royal Gorge, the closest to being finished scene. Still need some more structures to put in, but as you can see, this is the only place that has the actual backdrop installed. So just have to start blending in the foreground to the background. The track has received its initial coat of paint. I've done some weathering, so it's pretty much ready for ballast. And just got to finish adding these structures here. And if you'll remember, this is the scene that I'm going for, trying to recreate all those structures there. And then from here, move up to the Holcomb Power Plant up in Kansas. More work needed to be done here. As you can see, still just showing bare plywood here, and can't lay track until I've determined exactly how this whole structure is going to work. So structure before track on this one. And then all this has to be blended in with backdrop. I'm going to do hillside / woodline to kind of hide all this area, the helix, this open area, and blend it in with this power plant. And then over here to the left is Garden City with its feed operation and fuels terminal. And then we wrap around the corner to Charleston Elevator, located east of Garden City. Still need another couple kits, maybe just one more kit, a home, or I need another small business kit too for the co-op office. And then obviously lots of paint and details to add to this elevator. And we wrap around here to the transition to the Wichita Industrial Park, this lumber distributor, scrapyard. This is going to be in this area, Clean Harbors plant, which is going to look kind of like a small refinery. And then we've got a couple different grain elevators down here, more just a generic one here. And then we're going to use a big cargo elevator there to kind of help hide the transition between the 2 yards and being able to see straight through. And then we have the BNSF side of the Wichita yard, pretty much just ready for paint and ballast. Of course, a lot of work to do on that grain elevator to finish that. And we'll wrap around to the other side of the yard. And you can see on this yard, I've gotten most of the ties done, the filler ties done down here, which makes it look a heck of a lot better. So I'm going to try to make the whole layout look like that. Won't get it done this weekend, but I can put a big dent into it. And just like the BNSF side, the UP side pretty much just needs track and ballast and for the elevator to get finished. And this will all be part of this Cargill facility here. Wrapping around in this corner, this is going to be a transition point, which I think I'm going to just do a big photorealistic backdrop. Still have to install some masonite. This is not going to be a 90-degree corner back here. This is going to be kind of a blended, kind of a curve back here with a backdrop, which will transition over into Towanda. Still have quite a bit of work to do there, obviously. And then that'll transition into oil field between Towanda and El Dorado. And then we have the Mears fertilizer plant. Still haven't got the track laid here. And then the El Dorado yard with Barsol and BG products next to each other. A couple tracks there that still need to be laid. And then that transitions into the El Dorado refinery. Tons of work to do there. And honestly, I was thinking about this last night. I think at least these initial 2 or 3 tracks probably could go ahead and get laid. I really just need to add the terminal, the loading rack for the tank cars in this area. The foreground, I'm not too sure about, but I don't think it's really that necessary because I want to maintain some track length. So in order to, leave enough room for the refinery, but not get too close to the front or the foreground here, and leave some track length, I think the way I have it laid out is probably the way it's going to be. So I probably could go ahead and at least lay these first couple tracks here so I could add a few more operations to the layout. I'm just going to build that refinery or the loading rack to make sure the track spacing is right, and I could probably at least get those first couple laid. And in the back here, this middle track kind of just goes right down in the middle of the refinery, and that'll be for future refinery work, new towers, equipment replacement, whatever. And then this one that spins off to the side here, that's just the transition over here to Union Tank Car. All this track is laid. The primary structures are in place, at least where I generally want them. And then obviously they need a lot of work detail-wise, but all the track is good, it works. Just need to add a backdrop here in front of the window and the walls, and that will be it for that. So, overview of the layout. Opening the poll for this weekend. What would you guys like me to focus on for the next couple of weeks? So, Royal Gorge, yards, whatever, doesn't matter to me. I'm enjoying every bit of it. You can't vote for the wrong thing. I really appreciate the guidance, the support, the questions, and the comments. So, whatever you guys would like to see the most, leave it in the comments below. And we'll see what I can get done for the next couple of weeks. Again, voting wraps up this coming Sunday night at midnight, U.S. Central Time. And then on Monday, I work a weird day shift. So it'll be Monday night before I get the poll results and work plan video put out. So enjoy your weekend, everybody, and have a good time. Thanks for watching.